So I have an interview coming up and I need to find something to wear. Looks good. Yep. Okay, what about my social media? How's that looking? Oh, that was a good night. Good times. Oh. Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, good morning. My name is Colin. How are you doing?
I'm good. How's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Before we get started, I was kind of expecting more professional attire, and I was wondering, what does your t-shirt say?
Oh, this? It says
Yeah.
Don Julio.
What's Don Julio? I'm not.
Oh, it's tequila.
Oh,
I love tequila.
okay, all right.
Big fan.
So I guess all right, we'll just kind of hop into the interview.
Sounds good.
So, why don't you start by telling me a little bit about some of your past experiences in the workplace?
Okay. I was a hostess at Applebee's. I tutor kids. And I sometimes post things on Instagram and other people sponsor me for it. So then they pay me. It's called a brand ambassador.
Okay, and what I just noticed is you seemed most enthusiastic about the posting things on Instagram and you kind of jumped over the tutoring kids part. Is there a reason for that?
No.
All right. So I have one main concern here. It says here that you have quit your past job within 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, funny story. My bitch manager was going to fire me anyways. She had it out for me. Like I was late 15 minutes a few times, whatever. But sometimes too, she would scold me for not being polite to the guests. Like I would bring them their food and they'd be like, "Oh, where's my silverware?" And like, if they're gonna be stupid, why should I have to be polite? It just didn't make sense.
You do realize that one of the main jobs of working at a food place is making sure the people that are eating the food have utensils to eat their food.
Mm, no, it's not my job. So
That's just kind of how every food place works.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just going to move on to the next question.
Okay.
So, I want you to describe a time you encountered a new problem at work and how you solved it.
OMG. Okay. So one time I went into work and at Applebee's, and my other host that was supposed to work with me was 10 minutes late. And like, I know that nobody really comes in the first 10 minutes you open, but still, it was just super inconsiderate of her because, like, what if something happened and I needed her there and then she wasn't there and then I had to do it by myself? Like, that's just so, I don't know, like, that is not how you run a business. That's not how other people treat you. And I just was so put off by this. And, because of that, I had to handle it. And so what I ended up doing was
Several days later.
Uh, oh, are you done with the story? I've never really had about a 15-minute story explained to me before.
yeah. So that's how I solved the problem.
All right, that's amazing.
Cool.
So, last question. I'm just going to, given your past work,
Hold on. One sec.
wait,
Hey, dude, what's up?
Caitlin, we're in an interview right now.
Yeah. No way. That's great. Hey, I'm actually in an interview right now. Can I call you back? Yeah, it's going good. He loves me. Okay, dude. Bye. Talk to you later. Okay, continue.
All right, no, that wraps things up completely. I've never told this before to anyone, and I usually try to withhold a very professional standard, but I have to tell you right now that is the absolute worst interview I've ever been in. You're probably one of the most interviewees I've ever had.
Wow, I don't really understand where this hostility is coming from, but like, I don't need this. I have like 1 million followers on TikTok, and this is way beneath me anyway. So thanks for your time. Bye.
I should probably check up on my social media to make sure I don't have anything inappropriate on there.
Hi, my name is Rachel. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Rachel. I'm Colin, and I hope you're doing well.
You as well.
So today is a very simple standard job interview. I'll ask you a series of questions lasting about 5 to 10 minutes long to go over your past experiences, personal strengths, and skills you possess. Does that sound good?
Yes, sir.
So this job requires a lot of collaboration. You'll be working on a highly interdependent team of people in the marketing department. It requires group decision making, quick problem solving, and most importantly, creative thinking in order to think of innovative solutions.
That sounds great. I worked as a lifeguard for a local recreation center last year. In this position, my interpersonal communication skills and my ability to work as a team member improved astronomically. We had daily team meetings in the mornings, and efficient, clear communication was an undeniable requirement.
That's awesome. And kind of going on, I want to just know about you personally in general. And most importantly, what are some of your strengths and what are some of your weaknesses that might affect or make you thrive in the work department at our job?
That's a great question. I'd say my top three defining strengths are integrity, accountability, and willingness to learn. As for weaknesses, some may say I focus too much on small details that are irrelevant or time wasters. However, I think this is a result of my thoughtful, reliable approach to work. It may take me more time in some cases, but my work will never be returned to me with errors.
Now, another pretty important question is why is it that you actually want to work here?
I really enjoy the company's workplace environment and values. I appreciate your contribution to the Harlem Academy, supporting Black children's education, and your commitment to diversity and inclusion training. In addition, I am passionate about what your company is working for and would be grateful to be a part of it.
All right, awesome. That's pretty much all the questions I have for you. And if you have any questions about the job, about me personally, or anything that you might be questionable about, please ask away.
I actually did have a few, if that's okay. To start, how would you describe supervisors' leadership styles at this company? Are they open to input and collaborative decision making? Thank you so much for meeting with me, Mr. Downs. I really enjoyed our conversation today, and I hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you, Rachel. It was honestly great meeting you as well. I appreciate you applying and showing a lot of interest in this position. We'll make sure to try to get back to you as soon as possible.
Sounds great. Thank you once again.
Oh man, that was an intense interview, but I think it went well. I was thorough, professional, and I answered all their questions. I hope they liked me. Oh, maybe I should follow up and thank them for meeting with me. That will show them I have good manners and remind them of my interview. Okay, I think I should send an email. Here we go. All right. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I am really excited about the possibility of working with you and joining the team. Please let me know if you have any additional questions for me, and I look forward to hearing back from you. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay. Hello?
Hello, Rachel. Thank you for your interest in this position. Unfortunately, we cannot offer you this position at this time, but I want to wish you the best luck in your future job search.
Well, thank you for getting back to me. It was lovely speaking with you. And if you can provide me with any sort of information on how to better develop myself professionally, that would be awesome. And thank you again.
Hi, my name is Hope, and I'll be talking a little bit more about the importance of prepping for an interview. About 70% of employers will use social media to screen candidates prior to their interviews. So it is important to check up on your social media accounts, whether that be Instagram or Twitter, to make sure you don't have content that may potentially put you in a bad light. And next, having knowledge on the company. Doing your research on the company prior to your interview will allow you to understand what values the employer is looking for, as well as exactly what kind of employees they're looking to recruit. You can do this by going on their website and looking for a mission statement or a section with the company history. And finally, dressing for an interview. It is super important to make a good first impression, and the first thing the employer will physically see is the way you are dressed. Dressing appropriately will show the interviewer that you know how to be professional. Why is it important to check up on your social media? Not every employer will check up on your social media, but in the case they do, you don't want to disqualify yourself or make a bad first impression before even having the interview. So you want to put your best online foot forward, and you can do this by Googling yourself and untagging yourself in any photos or videos that may put you in a bad light. Why is it important to have knowledge on the company prior to an interview? Being knowledgeable of the company you are interviewing for will make a good first impression on the interviewers. Researching a little about the company will show that you are prepared, which will also ultimately reflect your level of enthusiasm for the position. And finally, getting the chance to understand the company's culture will allow you to be even more prepared for the interview in terms of how to present yourself. This will also help you know how to dress for the interview.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I'll be talking about some concepts that we went over during the interview portion of the skits. One thing that I wanted to emphasize about the skits was the importance of listening actively. This includes maintaining direct eye contact with the person who is interviewing you. You want to be able to sit up straight in your seat, nod and smile, and maintain a direct body orientation towards the person. Smiling can be especially important because it shows that you are someone that the interviewer just actually wants to work with. If you appear friendly and approachable, that's going to work in your favor because they do, of course, want to know that you're skilled and you're experienced, but being able to show that you are also easy to work with is something that everyone wants to be able to see in someone. Another thing to think about is to expand on your answers with specific and detailed experiences. You want to be able to use evidence such as being able to give numbers and statistics and facts and specific skills that you actually applied in your position. For example, if you said you're good at organizing, you can say exactly what you organized in your job to make people more efficient and more proficient at doing those tasks that were required of them. Another thing to think about is to focus on the positives when you're answering questions. It's really common for interviewers to ask you about your weaknesses, but you want to be able to turn any weakness that you might have into a positive thing. For example, if some people might say that you're aggressive in the workplace, you could say instead that you are assertive, honest, and direct with the people that you're working with. And then, therefore, you turn something that might be negative into a good thing. Another thing you always want to do is come in with questions already prepared to ask the interviewer. Almost every single interview ends by asking if you have any questions you want to give them. And this is a great opportunity to show that you did your research on the company and you're actually interested in working with them. If you have questions about the organization, it will show how thoughtful you've been in the whole preparation process. Some other things to think about would be, of course, appearing professional. You want to dress the part, and then also during the interview, you want to limit any fidgeting or self-touch that you might do, because these kinds of things normally communicate nervousness to the person who is interviewing you. So being able to limit that will show that you are more confident as a person. Of course, you also want to be prepared for standard questions that are commonly asked. These are really easy to be able to look up even, and you can kind of guess some questions that are usually asked during interviews, just so you can have a basic idea of how you will answer those questions when they are brought up. You also want to be able to clarify things about your experiences with education, your work experience, and you will be able to clarify your career goals and think ahead of time about your personality traits and what your strengths and weaknesses are. I have found that if you come into interviews with certain things like this in mind, it will make you prepare even more prepared for the interview. Another thing to think about is you want to make sure you don't ever lie during an interview and you maintain honesty. This is, of course, a non-negotiable trait that you have to ensure that you can do during the interview process. One thing that you can do is make sure you still present yourself in the best light possible. And you can do this by highlighting the best traits about you, but still maintaining complete honesty about everything. Another thing to do is to take accountability and don't criticize others in your previous work experiences. If something happened that wasn't as planned, you can explain what was the problem in the process and make sure you take accountability for the role that you played in it and not just put the blame on your supervisor or your coworkers. Lastly, you want to keep your answers brief and relevant. This is especially important because time is always someone's most valuable asset. And so you do not want to be wasting the interviewer's time rambling on about some story for more than 2 minutes at a time. So if you keep your answers short and brief, you can just stay focused on the details that actually are relevant to the job you're applying for. And then one more thing is enthusiasm levels. You want to be able to show a middle ground for enthusiasm. If you appear too enthusiastic, you might seem naive, young, and too energetic for the work environment, but you also don't want to seem like you would be a boring person to work with or someone that doesn't have enough energy to keep other people motivated. And so keeping a middle ground with enthusiasm is always a good idea. Next, we'll go into the post-interview explanation.
Okay, so now I will be explaining some key points and ideas to keep in mind after completing an interview. I will begin by discussing the clip of the bad example of an interview and how there can be some missed opportunities after an interview. For example, if the interviewee decides not to follow up with a quick email, the interviewee will be losing the opportunity to remind the interviewer who they are and about their conversation. In addition, by disregarding the importance of a follow-up email, the interviewee may be communicating disinterest to the employer, which may hinder their ability to get the job. Next, I will be explaining the skit of a good example of an interview and explain the key points that were very important. For instance, as I mentioned in the previous slide, not following up after an interview can limit your chances of getting the job. But now I will explain the importance of a follow-up message. By sending a quick thank you follow-up to the potential employer, you will be demonstrating appreciation, politeness, and your message will be serving as a reminder of your interview. Follow-up messages can be short and sweet, but they will make quite an impact. Also, while unfortunately there may be times when we do not get offered the job, there are some additional steps you can take to maintain the relationship with the company. For example, a polite message after not being offered the job can go a long way. This message can range from a thank you for your time and consideration to even asking the employer if they are comfortable sharing what prevented you from getting the job. If they share this information with you, that's great. You will learn some helpful tips that you can take with you along the way as you continue to interview for positions. And it will also communicate to the company your desire to improve yourself, your abilities, and also leave the door open for future interactions with the company.